So again, bringing us back to now and your
Yeah,
business
yeah.
Right,
and how
right.
go ahead and elaborate on that.
I know.
Speak up
Keep
a little bit.
talking. Keep,
Yeah,
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 no,
I
yeah.
like
absolutely.
listening.
So I have always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I have always wanted to create the rules and really just be the person that's responsible for my success versus having others tell me what to do. I mean, it's
Hmm.
just I'm a firstborn. I don't know. It's not something I'm incredibly proud of, yet at the same time, I really like to relish in it. So what I'm doing now is online nutrition coaching. So everything that I do is all virtual based. I serve dads and other family members. Primarily it was supposed to be like these men of purpose, right? It's going far beyond nutrition and really tapping into their role in their legacy for their families. And it's been really kind of cool to see a maturation between just serving men into women reaching out and saying like, Desi, I don't care about what you're saying to men. Like your message resonates with me because
Yeah.
whether it's my husband that needs to hear it or my siblings, like it doesn't matter. And so,
Hmm.
literally with my clientele, it's like half men and half women right now. And
Cool.
so,
That's
as I'm,
awesome.
as I'm starting to learn more about entrepreneurship, it's like, don't fight this, just let it happen and
Yeah.
Hmm.
continue that message. And I think that's been a really cool thing. And so what I'm doing now is basically online nutrition coaching on top of really just providing me with a lot of creative outlets. Our podcast, Men of Purpose podcast, please subscribe and like.
Yes.
Get feedback is always warranted. And then some of the other things too, with my Facebook group or any other areas that I'm really pushing a lot of content on, it provides me with greater opportunity, one, to spread a message, and two, just to continue me on that path of just really trying to provoke better thought leadership, because I think that's needed. I think a lot
Definitely.
more of our society needs to learn about the role of empathy, the role of telling
Hmm.
your story, the role of just unapologetically being you. And I think that's
Hmm.
something that I try to do imperfectly, of course, absolutely imperfectly, but it's something that I
That's
wake up
okay.
daily where it's like, I got to tell my story. So yeah.
Mhm.
I love it. I love
So
it. Yeah,
cool.
no, really, really great stuff. Definitely. And make sure that you include all of the links and all the things too, so we can get
Yes.
that posted for you. So we were talking a little bit about, I mean, just a touch, because then we went on everything else, but about pet peeves. Um,
Mm. Yeah, let's hear it. Come
yeah.
on, give us the
So
good stuff.
Gosh, there's so many right now.
I know. Yeah.
Because when you asked me beforehand, I was like, all right, what really pisses me off?
Right.
And it's kind of in line with what we're seeing now. Everyone is coming out of the woodwork and saying, I can solve this issue in
Right.
30 days or less. On one end, it's how we have gotten to a place where it's like no one really wants to work hard.
Nope.
Right.
Everyone wants the fast fix. And so with that,
Yeah.
supply and demand, the things that literally piss me off are take a tablespoon of this and you'll lose X amount of body fat in 10
Yep.
days. Or let me let me boost your immune system so that you can stay away from COVID-19 in just
Right.
under 7 days for
Right.
$5.90. Like
Right.
that stuff in itself, I think I'm from a marketing perspective, kudos to them because
Yeah, they've killed
they
it.
they've killed it. They've hit a
Yeah,
pain point. They've hit a
they
pain
get
point
it.
of people not wanting to work hard. But my pet
Hmm.
peeve is literally the people who have these really deep pains and struggles
Hmm.
Hmm.
and at the same time aren't willing to actually put the work in and
Right.
to work someone with like ourselves to say like,
Hmm.
hey, we can do this and it's going to be a much longer process so that it's more sustainable.
Right.
People don't want to hear that. They don't
Yeah,
they
Well,
don't and I think that's the biggest thing right there.
it is.
I think Nicole and I have talked about this before. I mean, how much of that people not wanting to do the long term, really actually dig deep is people don't want to feel.
Right.
I mean, that's
Hmm.
really what is they don't want to feel that discomfort. They want, yeah, we can call it a quick fix for sure, but I
Hmm.
think it even goes beyond that to I want to remain a robot in whatever I'm doing, but as long as I look good. So how do I do that while still not having to do all these feelings
Right.
things?
Yeah.
Right.
Which is really
Yeah.
a shame, like
Yeah.
why have we
It
created a
is too.
culture?
One of the best. Yeah. No. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. One
No,
of the
you're
best
good.
things that I ever heard. I don't know where I heard it, but it's a question that I like to ask anyone who is really just focused in on a metric like weight. Right.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's if the number on the scale never existed, if you can no longer be affirmed by how you look in the world, like what do you present in the world?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
In most cases, if someone is just really focused in this example on the numbers, like that just floors them. And I think that is just so valuable to ask them to go deeper. And just like you're saying.
Yeah, 100%. I've not done that specifically. I've done with a lot of my ED patients, kind of like, when you, and maybe this is morbid, but when you are on your deathbed, what do you want people to remember about you? What value are you bringing to this world versus, are they going to remember the size of your genes or your, whatever, the number on the scale? What type of, like you talked about legacy, what type of legacy do you want to leave behind?
That's right.
And boy, that it does hit home when you can extract the numbers and the media components, body image pieces out, and really get people to focus on, they're a good mom or a dad or their art or whatever the types of values they have. They kind of get like deer in the headlight, like, whoa.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Speechless.
Yeah. These are great
Not a
questions.
bad thing. That pet peeve, I think right now is elevated pretty high. I think something that Nicole and I, some of our pet peeves for sure, the whole diet industry on the whole. And I don't know if you notice this with virtual type of consulting, but like when you get a client and they come and they're like, well, I don't eat carbohydrates, or I don't eat, I eliminate this whole food group. How do you handle that with online consulting? Like, do you have like a sheet that you're like, oh, read this, like, how do you change that?
So I try, and this kind of goes back to what we probably do with all of our clients. I mean, I think we probably all have our niche, yet at the same time, I try to make sure that I cater the person's needs based off of what can help them more sustainably. So, I mean, I have had people who came in on solely just doing the plant paradox, right? I'm sure.
Boy. Oh gosh.
I know, right?
Yes.
Frickin' lectins.
Yes. Oh.
So it's like, and I think it gets to a point where it's like, okay, so what are your goals surrounding this? Well, I want to shed X amount and I want to feel great. And it's like, all right, cool. Like, let's have you go with this for the next 1 to 2 weeks. We'll monitor it. So I'll have them either submit their food pictures and we'll have coaching calls and they'll do check-ins and we kind of walk them through the process and get to a point where it's like, hey, and I'll kind of knock on their psyche to be like, are you really just in diet culture because you heard this works, or do you really want this sustainably?
Right.
And so from there, we can kind of transition them into doing something more sustainable. So I have had people who have been doing different dietary things when they come in and completely change into just really Nicole and Annie being just balanced eating and what it looks like in perfection and what we can do if we are looking to execute some sort of calorie deficit, if we're looking to do a surplus, like really bringing them into like, okay, here are the numbers and this is the representation with how this can look in your life while doing it imperfectly. Right. So I try to cater to what they need at first, and it's a great deal of education. But I can tell you, there have been people who will come in for 30 days and are out. So like, well, I didn't lose.
I got to do this.
Yeah, I didn't lose 30 pounds. Like, I don't know if the program worked. And it's like, okay, like, all right, you can starve yourself, but go ahead.
Still not going to work. Right.
Yeah, I'll schedule a call with you in 3 months. We'll talk again.
Yeah, exactly.
See how it's going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've got a question about what we were talking about earlier with like the culture and kind of finding balance within nutrition with that, and how you're able to kind of work with that.
So, I mean, right now, regionally, because I am seeing everyone online, so I do have some people on the East Coast, but a lot of people that I see are more like regional to West Coast, and then a lot, surprisingly, in Arizona too. So anytime that I spend time with them on our coaching calls or even because we have an app that's attached to the program where it's a whole lot of community-based items and we do group calls. And so I try to make sure that I navigate on one end where it's like, what do people have questions about? And two, like, what are people passionate about?
Yeah.
I think to a large extent, the things that I want to honor are the things that you enjoy about food. Because I think it goes across the board, whether it's dietary and food or exercise, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, then something's got to change. And so I always try to bring in that enjoyment factor, and making sure that if they do have a significant other or a child that they're sharing their home with, it's like everyone's on the same page. And, the family's not eating and dad's not sipping a smoothie. My God, never in my life will I tell them to do that.
Right.
So yeah, it's trying to cater to what they believe, and also trying to dismantle any myths that they might have heard in regards to how they culturally ate.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can find everything that I do on Instagram at Fit Dads Coach.
There you go.
That's when people ask, like, do you have a
IG,
card or do you have a website? Like, here's my Instagram here.
Yeah. So Dezi, as we're kind of bringing things to a close, is there one last thought or, message that you want to share, or that you would want the opportunity to leave everybody with?
It couples with a couple things that are happening currently, obviously with COVID-19, and Arizona just went on lockdown on day 1 today. And so I saw an article, I don't know how factual it was, but it's something to bring up. The divorce rates in China have just skyrocketed.
Yes. Yeah, I saw that too.
I saw that, and I was like, oh my God, people are hating each other. So
right.
I think I think the final thought too is like, look, we're living in really unprecedented times. I think to a leveling degree, like we're all experiencing some sort of trauma. And so, what does that mean for you, and how can you communicate through to the people you're sharing your home with?
Right.
How can you be vulnerable in the experience of saying, I have a lot of fear. I have no idea what's about to happen. And I also know, like, this is my responsibility to have these difficult conversations and what we want to do. My brother just moved back from Atlanta into Arizona, and, he's coming back when we all just wanted to get together, and we all had to have a really difficult conversation about, like, look, we would love to be together, and at the same time, socially and responsibly, this is what we want to do to practice our own version of social distancing. So, these are all unprecedented times, and it's fearful and it's painful. And at the same time, just communicating that is huge. So if I could say anything else, just like, it's okay to have fear, just tell someone about it.
Yep.
Because we don't want that to be done in isolation. My God, just tell someone about it.
Well, and on the flip side of that too is tell someone about it, but then be able to hear someone's words of fear, because I know, like, on my end, that's hard to do where you're like, suck it up.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I hear that message and I'm like, yeah, I really do need to work on compassion.
Yeah.
So
it's hard.
That's the other side of the coin.
Yeah. It's
sure.
hard. My wife gets home, and I think we have it now to a little bit of a system, because she's in healthcare, where it's, we give her 30 to 45 minutes to shower, clean, read, do some journaling, refocus in, and then she can come back and be a mom and the wonderful wife that she is. But I have to allow her that time.
Yeah.
If I just, when she came in, like, all right, you got to do this. If I came in a bat out of hell, like, no one survives that.
Right.
No, it's not okay. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. What's one last question, maybe, unless Nicole has one. What's your favorite food?
I got to say, earlier I mentioned that my mom would ask me, like, what do you want to eat and who do you want to have over for birthdays?
Yeah.
It's that meal. It's tostadas. We would do a huge tostada bar where you have, like, your corn shells and then beans and then just a plethora of things that you can pile it on.
I love it.
They broke every single time because of how much stuff you pile on, but who cares?
Oh, Nicole, when we raise enough money, that's the place we're going first.
Yes, exactly.
And we will be eating that meal.
Nicole had such a huge role in who I am right now. And
it's so cool.
Giving a guy that was really passionate an opportunity to work with professional athletes was really cool experience. Yay. So anything for you, Nicole.
Yeah.
So sweet. Then a tostada it is.
Yeah, tostadas then.
There you go.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, thanks so much for your time today, Dezi. This was so much fun.
Thank you.
And
absolutely.
We'll get all your out there.
Get your pod out there. Yeah.
Yes, please do. We'll have to have a cross pod and have you both come on ours.
Oh, that'd be so fun. We'd love it.
Yeah, so it's 2 male dietitians. So yeah, we're unicorns.
Oh, sweet.
That's so cool.
Love it. I love it. Oh yeah, we definitely have to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, so great.
Very cool.
Well, thank you too.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.